Hi, I'm Trevor Johnson. I'm the executive chef of The Lab Kitchen, and welcome to our date night instructional video. This week's dish is coconut curry chicken. So the first thing you want to do is get your rice going. My recommendation would be to use a rice cooker and just follow the instructions for that. But if you don't have a rice cooker, just take a small pot like this, and here I have half a cup of basmati rice, along with three-quarters cup of water and a pinch of salt. And I'm just gonna let this simmer with the lid on medium-low heat, until all the water is evaporated. What we're gonna do is we're gonna get our sauce started. So to start, I'm gonna get one large Spanish onion, and I'm just going to slice it nice and thin. And the onion is really important because that's where the bulk of the depth of flavor is gonna come from for our sauce. So I have a medium sauce pot, and I'm gonna add a couple tablespoons of olive oil. Got it going on medium heat. You want to slice your onions as evenly as possible because you want them all to cook down roughly the same amount of time. We'll get everything coated in the oil here. And we're just going to sweat these. That we're also going to add about a tablespoon of chopped ginger and 4 cloves of garlic. And a pinch of salt. So the general idea behind this curry sauce is we're building flavor with the onions. So the onions, when they're cooked down, they give you this really rich, creamy texture, a slight sweetness, and just a really robust depth of flavor. A lot of chefs will use as a shortcut to just add a dairy product like heavy cream, but I find this is a much brighter flavor and a much healthier flavor as well. So while our onions are sweating, we're gonna get our saute pan heated up. We're gonna get ready to sear our chicken. So here I've got our chicken breast. And I got a spice mix of white pepper, turmeric, and ginger. I'm just gonna season these up. You want to hit all sides of the chicken breast with that spice mix, as well as some kosher salt. And you've got some leftover spice in the bottom of your pan. You really want to just take the meat and just rub all of that in there. Get all that goodness on the chicken. You want to make sure your stove is on medium heat. If it's on high heat, then the onions and the garlic will burn before the onions start caramelizing. And once you get everything coated in the oil and you start the sweating process, you can add your curry powder. And just let all of this cook down together. Should also just reduce your heat just a little bit. You don't want those spices to burn either. So back to our chicken. Our saute pan has been heating up for about 30 seconds. So I'm gonna add a tablespoon of grapeseed oil. Coconut oil would also be a great substitution. Especially it goes nice with the coconut flavor of the dish. So you want to take your chicken, presentation side down. And we're just cooking this to get some nice color and build some flavor and texture on the chicken breast. This isn't like searing a steak. You're not searing it quite as hard as you would for a steak because you don't want the chicken to get dried out. So this is plenty of color right here. You gotta remember it's gonna finish in the oven as well. Chicken's a little more delicate than steak is. If you find that your onions are drying out a little bit, add a little bit more oil to the pot. And that is plenty of color right there. So, we're actually gonna roast this chicken sort of like a casserole. So I've got some peeled carrots here, and I'm just going to cut them in nice, large chunks so that they don't overcook. And I'm basically making a bed of carrots for the chicken breast to roast on. So these carrots are going to absorb all the flavor from the chicken, all of its juices, all that marinade we made, and that spice rub. So you want to make sure all your carrots are roughly the same size. So after you get all your carrots cut, you want to season them. Just a drizzle of olive oil. Make sure they're all nice and coated. Pinch of salt. And if you have any leftover of that spice mix we used from the chicken, dump the rest of that in here. That way you get all the same spices, all those flavors melding together. So we're going to take our chicken, put it on top of our carrots. and go right in the oven. You should have your oven preheated to 425. So once we get our onions and our ginger and our garlic all sweated down, you're going to add 1 carrot, finely chopped, and we're going to deglaze the pan with carrot juice. If you don't have carrot juice, you can use stock, you can use water. I think carrot juice is the best choice here because one, it adds the color that complements the curry, and it also adds that sweetness from the carrots, and it just pairs really nicely with the whole dish. So now we're going to add half a can of coconut milk. You want to be using full fat coconut milk to make sure you get the best possible taste and texture. Okay. So make sure your stove's on medium heat. And we're just gonna let this go until the carrots get nice and soft. So while everything else is cooking, start to prepare our herb salad. I like the idea of an herb salad because it brings freshness, it brings brightness to this really rich curry sauce that we're making. And it's also very simple and versatile. You can use whatever herbs you have. I'm using cilantro. I've also got some fresh chives and some mint. So I'm just gonna cut my chives in roughly nice wedges right there. The cilantro I'm just gonna tear off. And roughly chop the tops. Same thing with the mint. If you don't like mint, I find parsley works really nice here, or even tarragon. The idea is I just want nice, big leaves. I like bold flavors in my curry. So to those herbs, we are going to add the zest of 1 lime. As well as the juice of it. You're going to season this with a squeeze of lime juice, but you want to wait until just before plating, just so you don't wilt the herbs. So we're just going to let this all hang out until our dish is ready to be plated. All right, so now it's time to check on our curry sauce. So when you're testing for doneness, what you want to look for is just make sure your carrots are nice and fork tender, which they are. So now we're going to transfer this to the blender. And you just want to blend it until it's nice and smooth. You'll notice when you're blending, you'll start to see some bits of food at the top of the liquid. And that's how you know that you need to keep blending. So once all of this is gone and you see one homogeneous color, that's how you know to stop. So it can be a little awkward making a sauce like this in the blender because you'll almost always have to blend it longer than you think you need to in order to get the consistency that you want. So this is what we're looking for. Nice, smooth, and creamy. All right, time to check on our chicken. So you want to take a meat thermometer, insert it in the thickest part of the chicken. Temperature you're looking for is at least 155. You've probably seen on the internet somewhere that they'll tell you the temperature chicken to be cooked to is 165, but the reason you want to take it to 155 is because the chicken will continue to cook after it's out of the oven. And also make sure you test your carrots. Make sure those are fork tender as well, and they are. That nice, beautiful roasted flavor on them. Another thing you can do, if we have some of that leftover coconut milk that we made our sauce with. And now that our rice is cooked, you just add just a couple tablespoons. And just swirl it around. This just helps give the rice a little bit more body, a little bit more flavor, and a better mouthfeel. All right, so now that our chicken breast is rested, it's time to plate. Start first with our rice. For a nice presentation, you want to just slice your chicken breast nice and thin. Look at that, see how nice and juicy that is? That's what happens when you let your chicken rest. All those juices redistribute through the meat. If you were to cut this chicken immediately out of the oven, all the juices would run out immediately and you're left with a drier product. I'm just gonna shingle that. Take our beautiful carrots. And then get a spoonful of your sauce. And now let's finish our lime salad, our herb salad with just a nice squeeze of lime juice. And just kind of give a nice blanket of herbs, just all along the chicken. And there is our coconut curry chicken. So thank you for joining us again on Date Night. Be sure to tune in next week on Instagram Live at You Need the Lab Chef, and look forward to the instructional video that we'll post on YouTube afterwards. If you have any questions, just leave them in the comments and we'll do our best to get to them as soon as we can. And thanks for joining. Have a good night.